Civilization or Barbarism, an Authentic Anthropology by Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop. The comb capel skull, first described by Clatch, who saw it as a new species, Homo aurignaceus, has since been an object of study for numerous anthropologists. Moshi found australoid characteristics in this species because of its pronounced superciliary arches. According to Gifrida Ruggeri, this skull is more dolichocephalic, more elevated, more prognathious, more Platyrian, and thus displays Ethiopic affinities. He was inclined to call it Homo pre-Aethiopius. Mendes Correa was of the same opinion. We are therefore in the presence of a Negroid specimen, which moreover was found at the bottom of the Aurignacian site, but under conditions that leave too much to be desired. The fact is that this fossil was discovered at the time when scientific prehistoric archaeology was in limbo, 1909. It was discovered not by a professional, but rather by an antiques dealer who was a purveyor of the Berlin Museum, to which he sold it. This specimen, whose inventors baptized it Homo aurignaceus, could not be older than the industry that it belonged to. The estimates that held it to be 50,000 years old were not based on any scientific data. They wanted to have it old enough to make it an autochthonous Homo europus, a predecessor of the invading Grimaldi Negroid. Now we are forced to recognize that it is not distinct from the latter, and that the dating of the Aurignacian industry by carbon 14 definitely accords it in an age of about 32,000 years. Additional information, as could also dating with the carbon 14 accelerator. One might indeed expect that the industry of the so-called lower Perigordian attributable to a hypothetical indigenous European would cover the whole continent. This is not the case. The role falls to the Aurignacian industry of the invading Grimaldi Negroid. At the 9th UISPP Congress in Nice, the 16th colloquium dealing with the Aurignacian industry in Europe showed that that continent was literally covered with the various features of the Aurignacian, whereas the Soltrian industry, attributable to the real Cro-Magnon, who did not appear until 20,000 years later, was absolutely non-existent. According to this study, Aurignacian industry is present in France and the entire upper Danube basin of Austria, Joachim Hahn, with 19 index sites, such as the famous villages of Willendorf, Vogelherd, Kleindenfanet, Golfenstein, etc. In Slovakia, Ladislav Banase is northern Romania, M. Bitiri, and in Benay, F. Mogosamu, in Poland, Allies Bieta, Sachkowski, Kozlowska, in Moravia, Karel Volok, in the Balkans, Janusz Kozlowski, in Eastern Europe, G.P. Grikovgrive, text missing, in Belgium, Marshall Otte, in Bosnia, Doro Basler, and even in the Near East where the pre-Aurignacian industry has been discovered, Ladislav Benes, we have already mentioned the African Aurignacian industry, the age of which will have to be determined anew by methods of absolute chronology. Let us add to the above that the Aurignacian industry of the Crimea and that the Irkutsk near Lake Baikal in southern Siberia, discovered by the late Professor Jeremosov, a scholar of exceptional objectivity, and finally the Aurignacian industry of Grimaldi and that of Java. Although the Aurignacian culture preceded that of the Solstrian Cro-Magnon by nearly 20,000 years, and even though no confusion is possible between the two physical types respectively responsible for these industries, Western ideologues, particularly the French, do not hesitate now to identify the Grimaldi Negroid with a Cro-Magnon, or else to ignore him completely while presenting the Cro-Magnon as a very first Homo sapiens sapiens of Europe. It is a gross falsification of this kind, trying to explain human evolution in reverse on the basis of purely ideological preoccupations that end up killing the intellectual appetite of younger generations, disgusted by the destruction of the meaning of facts. And I will stop right there and we'll pick back up on civilization or barbarism. I'm Uriel Riley. Thank you.